Because ultimately I feel and have always kind of felt that, you know, in an ideal world we would all be cats. Hello everyone and welcome back. Apparently asking you guys if you want wedding content is like asking Freddie if her favourite colour is pink, so message well received. Honestly, I'm still kind of trying to figure out how to share this experience with you without giving everything away, while still making sure that the day itself is safe, protected, special, and that there's still an element of surprise at the end. But I'm also kind of like, if I overthink it too much, I just won't say anything and then the moment's going to pass. So I think, guys, let's just figure it out along the way. There's definitely things that I think I'm comfortable sharing now. Obviously I got engaged back in April and it's now September. So I have been doing quite a bit of planning, and I feel like I can even just like give some advice and just share my experience of how it's been so far. So I put an Instagram story out asking if you guys had any wedding planning questions, and surprise surprise, there were hundreds. So I feel like let's just sit down and have a chat. Like, I haven't really planned this vlog through. I'm just going to speak from the heart and see what comes out. Overall though, I would say for the most part it has been up and down. I have definitely had some nervy bees on the way, and I promised myself at the beginning of this process that I would not get too stressed about it, but I really actually underestimated how much goes into planning a wedding. And of course, like for most of us, this is our first time ever doing this, so we're navigating it as we're doing something that's like the biggest occasion or event we'll ever plan pretty much in our lives. And it's a lot of money as well. You're spending so much money. It's the most kind of people you'll have that you care about in one room at one time. So I think it's natural to want it to be perfect, or as perfect as it can, or whatever perfect means to you. As you guys know, I am a very highly strung perfectionist, typical Virgo, and to tell you the honest truth, the minute that that ring was on my finger, well, maybe not the minute, but like the day after, in my mind I was like, okay, how am I going to navigate this? I really need to check myself and make sure that I don't lose my mind, because that is, of course, as we know, in my nature. So I forbade myself from having a breakdown, and it didn't work. But I will say that the breakdowns I have had have been moderate, not severe, which is honestly impressive for me. Okay, enough rambling from me. Let's sit down, have a proper chat, grab a drink, preferably a strong one if you are also wedding planning, and I will answer some of your wedding planning questions. Also guys, is that not what you call a fiance? It's so nice being engaged, because it's like being in the early stages of your relationship again. JJ has never heard of supermarket flowers, I swear. He always goes to the florist that I tried to ban him from going to because I feel like they really overcharge for their flowers. But look at these roses. A couple of them have gone a bit brown, but they are absolutely stunning and they make me so happy. This is definitely, I think, a little hint of what my florals are going to look like at the wedding. Before we sit down and start chatting, I wanted to just show you guys my wedding planner book that my mum bought me as an engagement gift, and it actually comes from a really, really lovely small independent brand who I featured in my gift guide like 2 years ago, and she didn't realize, but they just sell like the most beautiful stationery and journals and that kind of thing, and planners, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe it's from the same brand. And I've actually been waiting to fill it out because I wanted to show you guys it empty, because I didn't want to give away any plans. So it is empty, but after I filmed this I can start filling it in. One of the nicest things I thought they included, which just shows that they really think of everything, is the pen test, because this is so me. Oh my god, if this is not me. They're just like, when you get something as lovely as this, you don't want to mess it up by using the wrong pen. So they've given you like a sample of the paper that's in the book, so you can test out your pens to figure out which is like the most compatible and looks the nicest and writes the best on this paper. Is that not the most thoughtful thing in the world? I just thought that was amazing. So this is the contents. It pretty much covers everything, which is really, really nice. I won't show you the whole thing, but just like some really helpful tips on the timeline of wedding planning. You have a little budget section, a whole guest list section, and also just like some little kind of tips and like bits of advice, which I think is so nice. Really great tips of like the right questions to ask your venue and like all of your various vendors. Seating plan just shows you some kind of like top table arrangement suggestions. There's a whole section about the dress with, again, just like some really nice bits of information about all the different like names of the lengths of veils, for example, the different types of shoes and accessories that you might want to have that are just, I guess, like the most common bridal shoes and accessories. I love this. This is really helpful because for me, like, I already know a lot about dresses and shoes and accessories, of course, but I don't know a lot about men's attire, so this is really helpful for me, and also a really good little measuring guide here of how to measure the man. I love this as well. It shows you like the different types of wedding rings that you can have, which is super cute. I know which I want. I wonder if you guys can guess, out of those, paired with my ring, what do you think I would go for? Then you've got the catering section, a whole thing of how many tiers the cakes serve generally, which is really, really useful to figure out how many tiers you want your cake to be. There's also an amazing flower section. This is a really lovely little sketched guide of all the different types of flowers that you could think of for your florals. Again, I know what I'm getting, and I would love you to put down any guesses below. There's honestly just loads of things. Look, a little emergency kit for things to have on the wedding day, like just loads of different stuff about the makeup, everything, photographers, playlists. It's just perfect. And then it also comes, I don't know if it's like an additional extra that you have to pay for if they just come with it, but they also give you these like gorgeous cute little gold stickers. So yes, I just thought that was such a beautiful engagement gift, and again, really nice to support an independent family-run British brand. So I will link this planner down below in the description box. Oh, I'm so sorry that you all haven't seen Cinderella yet. How dare I keep her from you for more than 5 minutes? Say hello, everybody loves to see your beautiful face. Yes, they do. Can you smile? Okay guys, let's get started and start going through some of your questions. Also, I feel like this setup is so bridal vibes. Also, my new earrings, they're so pretty. They're from a brand called Dower & Hall. They're handmade in London, and they are gold vermeil and white sapphire little hoops. They're so pretty. I'll link them down below. Okay, there's so many questions and lots of them the same, so I'll try and cover everything and kind of go in order. So the first thing that you guys wanted to know is the date, and obviously I'm not going to share the actual date with you, but I feel like I can at least share the year and possibly the season. So we are getting married next year in 2026, and I'm gonna let you guys guess the season, to be honest, because you're not gonna be wrong. I mean, it's not gonna be in winter, is it? I love long days, I love sunshine, fingers crossed, although I will say that I am kind of designing and organising the day so that it does not rely on good weather, because I get physical, actual like panic attacks and nervous breakdowns over the weather, and I cannot be dealing with that on my wedding day. So the day does not rely on good weather, but it would of course be a bonus. So yes, not a particularly long engagement, which was another question that I got asked a lot. I just didn't really feel like a long engagement was important or right for us. I think that they can be really beneficial if you have a lot of saving to do, or you know, you're not used to planning. But to be honest, planning this wedding has kind of felt like planning a flossy shoot, to tell you the truth, just on a much bigger scale, obviously, but all of the kind of elements, I'm very used to coordinating stuff like that. So another question I got a lot was, am I using a wedding planner? And the answer is no, I am the wedding planner. Again, I totally see the benefits of hiring a wedding planner if you have a very demanding full-time job or children, for example. Like, I honestly don't know how people have time to do this. Like, it is a lot, but I do have the time, and like I said, I'm used to coordinating stuff like this. Photo shoots are not the same as weddings, but there are definitely similarities. Also, going back to the long versus short engagement, I just kind of wanted to get married as soon as possible. Like, I'm ready. I'm not getting any younger, and I kind of want to be as young and pretty at my wedding as possible. I also had to take my family into consideration, like my grandparents. I really desperately want them to be there and to enjoy the day as much as possible, and obviously they're not getting any younger either, and there are physical health conditions in the future that may prevent them from being able to do that. So that was something to think about, and all things considered, the date that I picked works really, really well for us. I actually booked the wedding the day after we got back from Florida. So we've been engaged 2 weeks, and I was looking at the calendar because, guys, I have a thing about dates. I'm such a Virgo. I feel that some dates are prettier than others. Not all dates are created equal, and I'm not talking about the time of year. I'm talking about purely how they sound when they come out of your mouth and how they look written down on paper. For example, I believe that I have the prettiest, most elegant birthday in the calendar, the 16th of September. Like, oh, it's heaven. So when we got back from Florida, I was kind of thinking about some dates that I liked the sound of, perusing the calendar, and my top choice of date actually lands on, let's just say, a very good day of the week to have a wedding. And I was like, oh my god, it's meant to be. And I booked it, and then I told JJ, by the way, JJ, put this date in your calendar, we're getting married. I also thankfully really like the year 2026. Like, no offense, and I'm really sorry if anyone got married this year, but 2025 I do not like. It just sounds so harsh, whereas 2026 and 2027, beautiful. 2028, reconsider if that is on the cards for you. Okay, so someone said, how hard was it to get your preferred wedding date at your venue? So to say that I didn't have like a super long engagement, I inquired at probably about 10 to 12 venues, and I think like 10 out of 12 were all available, so it really wasn't hard at all. It was something that I was worried about before I started the process, but yeah, it was not hard at all. So I don't know if that's because of the location that I'm getting married in. I'm pretty sure some areas of the country are more popular than others right now to get married in. I'm really not sure. I didn't find it an issue, which was a relief. Okay, a little bit of a self-indulgent question, but somebody asked, can we please see the ring? I love learning about the story behind engagement rings. Well, of course I would love to show you. So here is the ring up close. So beautiful, and there isn't really a story per se behind it, apart from the fact that JJ knew that I loved an elongated cushion cut because one of my best friends told him. I just think they're really, really classy, and I love the softness of a cushion cut. Like, I love ovals, but I think they're too popular right now. I love radiants, but the kind of sharp square edges I feel like don't really sit well with my style and my personality. I'm much softer than that. I also, of course, wanted it set in yellow gold, including the prongs, which if anyone watches Flick on TikTok, her ring reviews, she says that having your diamonds set in yellow gold prongs, even if the band is yellow, is like the ultimate engagement ring sin. But I honestly love how it looks because I love the contrast of the yellow against the white of the diamond, and I'm very, very lucky that my diamond is colourless, so it's so white, and the contrast of the yellow gold against it is just like stunning. And apart from that, he sourced the stone first separately and then had the ring made around it. I also think the carat, the size is just perfect for my hands. Like, I don't have very long fingers, like my hands are quite petite, and I think the size is just perfect. Like, I'm really against these humongous stones that we're seeing so much now. Like, first of all it was celebrities, then influencers, and they're just like these humongous diamonds that I think, like, honestly start to look a little bit questionable. Like, are they real? Because if that was a real, like, natural diamond, it would be like 100k. So is that a real diamond? Maybe that's just my snobbery speaking, but I don't like the massive stones. I think they look a bit tacky. I think mine is perfect. You are free to disagree. We all have different preferences. That's what makes life not boring. Okay, I'm trying to answer the questions like in order of wedding planning. Somebody asked me, what is your budget? Which is a very personal question to ask, and I'm obviously not going to answer it, but I do kind of want to talk a little bit about wedding budgets actually, because it's been on my mind a lot recently when like considering how I'm going to share my wedding with all of you, that I really have decided that I don't want to contribute to this culture that I feel like we have right now, mostly on social media and especially in the wedding industry, of just these like gross displays of extravagance. I think we see so many celebrity weddings that are so over the top and so expensive that suddenly ordinary people feel like they have to live up to that. And I know personally of people who have spent money that they do not have because they want to have this wedding that they think they should have. And I feel like some kind of responsibility as an online content creator and influencer to not contribute to that. And I'm kind of stuck between two places of like wanting it to be so very Freddie and over the top. We all know I'm not exactly a minimalist, and perfect and beautiful, but also feeling this responsibility to not feed into this culture that actually I really disagree with and I think could be really damaging for people. So in terms of the budget, I'm basically trying to find somewhere in between. I know my wedding is probably going to cost a lot more than lots of people's weddings, but it's also probably going to cost a lot less than a lot of people's weddings, especially influencers, I think, because I'm also not giving in to any pressure or expectation of like I've got to have something fabulous to show on social media. I've never been like that. As you guys know, everything I do is authentic to me and it's not for anyone else. I just like sharing it, and that's exactly what the wedding is going to be, and a little tiny bit of what JJ likes too, but just a bit. Okay, quite a few people have asked what my top priorities are when it comes to wedding planning. So I'm going to give you my top three. My top three priorities are: one, I really want everybody to have a good time. I have been to weddings where I've had honestly the best day, and I've been to weddings where I have been so bored and I felt like the whole day was kind of just for the couple and they didn't really care about if anyone else was having fun. And that's fair enough, that was a choice. That's not the choice we want to make. We really just want everyone to have a really good time. The second priority is making sure that every element of the day is mine and JJ's handwriting, and it says something about us as a couple, about our lives, and nothing will be generic. Everything will have a personal touch. It's not going to be a cookie cutter wedding. Everything will have been chosen really intentionally to say something about who we are and what we love. And my third priority, I'm just going to be honest, is that it's really, really pretty, because as you guys know, that's a priority in my life. I like to look pretty. I like my house to look pretty. I love pretty things. I'm very, very visual. It really, really pleases me. I will not be having any like canteen school dinner knives and forks because that would upset me. I want it to look nice. It will genuinely make me happy. It's not for anyone else. It truly is just for me. So they're my top three priorities. I feel like they're quite good ones. I would love to hear yours as well. If you're planning a wedding, please let me know. Let's get the discussion going. Okay, this question is less about me and more just general. Where to even start when wedding planning? Is there a tick list? I'd have no idea. So yeah, like we are all literally in the same boat. I guess unless you have a best friend or a big sister who has got married recently. I think even our parents, to an extent, they can help, but lots of them got married, you know, a long time ago, and things change. So for me, I'd say the first three things I considered was the when, obviously, the where, and the who. So obviously the year and the time of year you want to get married, whereabouts in the country or the world you want to have the wedding in, and also who's going to be there, because a lot of the time I've found the number of guests you have can actually impact the venue choice. Because some of mine, for example, could not accommodate the number of guests that I wanted to have, and lots of them were also too big. They would hold like 400 people, and my guest list was just going to feel so small in a room like that. So that's really something to consider. I'd say get the guest list done fairly early, even if it's just rough. Like you need to know, are you having a small intimate wedding of like 20 to 50 people? Is it like medium size 100, or are you going like 150 to 200 plus? Then I'd say the next most important thing to think about is the guest experience. So they have to be fed. Is your venue a self-catered venue, or is it dry hire? Do you have to find your own caterers? That's an option. Next, how are you going to entertain them? Are you having a DJ for the party? Do you want a live band? Do you want any kind of live music during the day? Also transportation and accommodation was something that I really took into consideration when picking our venue, because I wanted to make sure that it was as easy and accessible for people to get to as possible. Again, like thinking as much about the guests as myself. Then I'd say the next most important thing for me would be the photographer and videographer, if that's something that you want to have. I think that there are a lot of great options now. Like you don't necessarily need a videographer. There are content creators who do like social media stuff that are a lot cheaper usually than videographers, and also these really cool companies where you can like hire these kind of old camcorders and do like home videos, and then you send them the footage and they edit it for you together into a wedding film, which I think is a really cool idea. So there's all of that to consider. It can be really overwhelming. That's actually the part that I found the hardest, is photography and videography, because I have such strong vision of what I like. Again, from doing so many photo shoots and also being a video creator myself, I'm very, very fussy, and actually as I sit here now, I have still not found a videographer that I am happy with. I found a photographer who I'm thrilled with, but video is proving to be really, really difficult because I'm just seeing so many like basic generic videos, like they all just look the same. They're also like formulaic. I'm fully aware, by the way, that I'm the problem in this scenario. I'm just very, very particular. Like I said, being a video creator myself, I have big ideas of what things should be, and no one is really fitting the bill yet. So watch this space. But yes, I would say that photo and video are really quite important to factor in early on, especially into your budget, because they're very expensive and also they book up quickly. Then all on the same tier, I would say start thinking about flowers if you want flowers. I love flowers, but I also feel like if you don't love flowers, you shouldn't feel pressured to have flowers just because it's your wedding day. I mean, they're so expensive, like eye-wateringly so, and they do die. You can't take them home, so something to think about. Cake as well, they can just get booked up pretty fast and can be expensive, so you want to factor that in. Dress shopping is a huge one because you don't know how long it could take, so maybe actually we should have put dress higher up on the list, because you don't know how long it's going to take to find something that you're in love with, and you want to make sure you give yourself enough time. Again, they can be pricey. Then you've got bridesmaid dresses, groomsmen suits, hair and makeup artists, any like table favors, decorations, invitations. There is a lot to think about, and my advice would be listing all of those things in order of priority and just going through them one at a time. Set yourself a task for the week or the fortnight or the month and get through it slowly. If you look at it like a mountain, it's way too overwhelming. You really have to break it down. That would be my best advice. Okay, a couple of similar questions, like where did you get inspiration for different aspects of the wedding? Is there a venue or style that you considered for your wedding that you didn't go with? Have you always had a wedding vision, like since you were a wee girl? Oh, and of course, are you getting married? So to answer that last question first, we are not having a destination wedding. We have decided to get married here in England because ultimately I feel and have always kind of felt that, you know, in an ideal world, we would all be cats for many reasons. But we would all be cats and we would have 9 lives, and we could have 9 fabulous weddings in all different places with different themes and vibes. But touch wood, all going well, we will only have one. And I do personally find it more important that you choose something that is ultimately true to you and your life and you as a couple. And sometimes, I know I'm going to offend people when I share this opinion, but I find some destination weddings a little bit ingenuine. That's just my opinion, and I actually hope, I would advise you not to care about my opinion at all. Like, you shouldn't care about anyone's opinion. You want to do what you want, but for me personally, I wanted our wedding just to come from the heart and feel very authentic and genuine to us as a couple, which is why it's going to be here at home in England. And I also, of course, wouldn't want to alienate any single person from being able to come. I think it's a lot to ask when you have a destination wedding, because you're essentially asking people to make your wedding like their holiday, and for some people that might be the only holiday that they have that year. So I think it's a lot to ask, and for me it was also more important to make sure that everybody we wanted to be there was there, over having something, you know, that was maybe gonna have better weather. Having said that, there is absolutely a part of me that would have loved a gorgeous wedding in a pink chateau in the south of France in the sunshine, but ultimately that was my second choice, not my first choice. And that actually kind of brings me back to the question about my wedding vision as a wee girl, because yes, there are definitely elements of my wedding that have been in my mind for a long time, since I was, I'm gonna say maybe a teenager more than a wee girl. But on the other hand, it's not something that I have consistently envisioned or dreamt of my entire life, because to be quite honest with you, until last year when I turned 30, getting married was to me something that like old people did. So I guess now I'm officially old, which is good. And my inspiration for the whole kind of aesthetic and vibe of the wedding luckily came very naturally and very easily to me, because as you guys know, I'm such a visual and kind of aesthetically driven person that those things are just like in my mind all the time. And ultimately I think that a wedding is more about the bride than the groom. It's about you as a couple, but I do think it leans more towards the bride. I think it's the bride's day. And my wedding is just going to be very, very me. Like when you see it, it will just all make sense and you'll say, oh my god, that's so Freddie, with a little bit of JJ sprinkled in. And the last thing I'm going to say on this is, I think that lots of people who follow me will have a kind of idea and vision of what my wedding will be like, what it will look like, what I will look like, everything about it. And I don't think it's going to be what a lot of people expect. But then when you see it, you'll be like, oh my god, that actually makes so much more sense. That is so Freddie and it's so perfect. I hope. Okay, I'm sure you guys can guess the #1 most asked question, and it is of course about my wedding dress. My favourite wedding dress question is, will it be hard to find the perfect dress for you as the dress expert? Thank you very much. I am not going to talk too much about the wedding dress in this video because I feel like it's such a big thing for me. My whole life is dresses. Like, what have I talked about probably the most on my channel in the last 10 years? Dresses. My business is dresses. I love dresses. So I think I would be doing us all a disservice if I discussed the wedding dress in this video. I need to think about making an entirely separate video just on dresses, but I definitely have some ideas of what I want. How much do I say? I think it's very likely at this stage that I will be creating my own bespoke dress that I will design, probably with a bridal designer, because lots of people asked me, will I do like a flossy wedding dress? And the answer is no. Like, it's honestly just too much. I don't have the expertise or the experience, and I feel like it's something too major and important, and I want it to be so perfect that I really just want to work with an expert. But I do definitely feel like I want something that's unique to me, something that's come from my own imagination. But I will be going and trying on dresses in boutiques anyway, because first of all, you never know, I may find the most incredible dream dress I've ever seen in my life, or at least I might find some inspiration and maybe things that I'd never even thought of or didn't know existed. So I know this is probably the most rhetorical question in the world, but if you guys would like to see the process of that, trying on some dresses, going to boutiques, then let me know in the comments. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Okay, a couple of fun questions. Will you be adding any Disney magic in to tie in with your engagement? And the answer is, of course, yes. I think we would have had Disney elements on the day regardless of whether we'd got engaged at Disney or not, because, you know, I love it so much. The main thing I think will be the music, because the music of Disney is my favourite thing about Disney. It's why I love the films and going to Disneyland. It's basically because of the music. It just is my favourite thing in the world. So that's going to be a big factor. And I do want to try and think of some other clever, subtle, elegant, classy ways that we can incorporate Disney without A, being too like obvious, and B, kind of making something like unnecessary that we don't need just for the sake of it. So I need to give that more thought. If anyone has any suggestions, please do leave them below. Will JJ sing at the wedding? Well, that is TBC. I would love that. He's definitely not going to be like the entertainment. He's not going to be the wedding singer. I would love him to sing, but it's really up to him, because JJ is kind of like me in that he's not going to want to get up and do something by halves. He's going to want to get up and make sure he does a really good job, and he's also not going to really want to feel like that kind of pressure on his wedding day. Like, he has to enjoy himself and not be any type of like stressed or anxious or nervous in any way. So I have to leave that up to him, but I would personally love that. So fingers crossed. Are you doing a private first look, or will your first look be when you walk down the aisle? I am definitely traditional in that sense. I do not understand where this first look trend has come from. I think it is so much more magical and special for your fiance to see you for the first time walking down the aisle. I just can't imagine anything more emotional, with everyone watching and the music playing, and just that act of like coming down the aisle, I just think is spine tingling, and if JJ doesn't cry, then I'm saying I don't. Who am I kidding? JJ is the biggest crier. He is so much more emotional than me. So yeah, if he doesn't cry, then I'm actually going to be worried about him. It's not about me, he cries at literally everything. Okay, this is a good one. Is there any aspect of the wedding that you found you don't really care about? Kind of. One of them being invitations, because I basically ended up calling everyone to invite them because I wanted to. I was excited. I also wanted people to put the date in early because I felt like it was going to come around quickly by the time I'd organise like a kind of physical invitation that I was happy with. I was scared it was going to be too late, but now everyone knows, I'm a bit like, do I need to send a physical invitation? Is it just like a waste of money? Also, table favours, I'm a bit like, again, is that just throwing money down the drain? Like, to be honest, in the nicest way possible, I actually don't keep my wedding table favours because what do you do with them? What do you do with them? Let's be honest. I would consider something edible, I think, but in terms of just like monogramming a useless piece of something with our initials that no one's going to actually want, I don't think I'm going to do that. Sorry guys, I've just had to relocate because the sun was going in my eyes down there. But yeah, like on the most part, I feel like I care about everything to do with the wedding. I suppose on a more general note, and I know I touched on this earlier, but I'd say the thing that I don't care about is just these like extravagant displays for social media, which is what I believe that they are for, which is strange seeing as that's what I do. I'm on social media. You'd think that it would be important to me, but maybe that's the reason why I see through it and I see that it's actually not important to have a £20,000 floral display. I mean, if you've got it to throw away, then great, but I think for most people that money could just be spent so much better elsewhere than a cool picture for social media. I'm going to wrap up soon, but I wanted to answer this one. What are wedding trends and traditions that you hate? I've given this a lot of thought, and actually before I started planning my own wedding, there were so many traditions that I turned my nose up at, such as being given away, like how old-fashioned, how archaic, having a top table, just the kind of formulaic ritual of a wedding. But actually now planning my own, I realised that a lot of those things are just convenient. They're things that you need to do. It just makes life easier, and it also creates this feeling of it being a proper wedding, because my parents, for example, had a fabulous wedding, but it was very non-traditional, and you could argue, my mum said herself, that sometimes it could have been just a party. And I think there are certain elements that take it from a big party or family gathering to a wedding, and they're those kinds of elements that I used to not think I cared about, and now I seem to. In terms of trends, to be honest, I don't think I really know about many trends because I've only been being fed bridal content for the past 6 months. So I couldn't really tell you what's trending. And to be honest, you guys know me, I don't really take any notice of trends anyway. I just do what I like. But I will say there's one thing that I absolutely hate when it comes to weddings. And I felt this way years before I even started thinking about my own. What I hate most in the world about weddings is just when things are really generic and unimaginative. Like, you could have the prettiest, loveliest wedding, but if it doesn't say anything about you as a person or you as a couple, and you could literally replace the couple with another couple and not really tell the difference, to me that is not a good wedding. I just feel like I've seen so much of the same thing over and over again, especially speeches. Oh my goodness, speeches drive me crazy. I feel like especially with men, sometimes fathers, but always best men, it's just like there is a template that you download and fill in the gaps, and I cannot bear it. I've actually banned JJ's best men from saying, "Doesn't Freddie look beautiful today?" Because really, I would take offense to that. I'd be like, sorry, you should think that I look beautiful every day. And I just hate how every single best man pulls out that line and everyone cheers, and I just cringe inside because I just think, could you not think of anything original to say? So yes, basically my biggest wedding pet peeve is anything formulaic, generic, basic, unimaginative, cookie cutter elements that will all be absolutely banned at my wedding, as well as fitness watches. Yes, I am banning fitness watches at my wedding, I've decided. And now for the final question, and the most important one, are you having fun? Congratulations. I am having fun. At the end of the day, it is stressful. There have been highs and lows. It's been a little bit of a roller coaster, but I am just trying to soak up this feeling of like, I'm only gonna do this once. This is my bridal era, my fiance era. It's fun, it's exciting. You know, we in our lives go to so many weddings, and to get the chance to do your own and put your own spin on it and your own signature on it, and just to have all of those people in a room that you love and care about, and vice versa, celebrating you, and just to have a big party exactly how you like it, is something that is so rare, and it is fun, and it is exciting and special, and truly JJ and I just can't wait. Oh my gosh, guys, you are probably so sick of me talking and my face is aching from talking and smiling, but it was so nice to catch up properly. I feel like I always feel a little bit less distant when we've done this, and I feel really, really good. So I hope you got your little taste of wedding planning from me, and I just want to keep in touch in the comments. Like, now I'm not uploading every single week, I'm not as overwhelmed by comments, so I am going to really make an effort to reply to you guys on this one. You know, if there's any brides in the same boat for this year, next year, year after, or if you have any advice you can pass down on to me if you are recently married, I would really appreciate it. And I just want this to be like a nice little cute girly community again, of like-minded young ladies in this wonderful, exciting period of our lives. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all very soon. Bye!